Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, we have a very special guest joining us, and I am really, really excited to talk to her and for y'all to get to know her more and to check out her podcast. So, if you saw the thumbnail, then you know tonight we are talking with Tiff from True Crime with Tiff Kline. She has a brand new podcast, which of course is a true crime based podcast. I learned about her on Instagram, and y'all, get over to Instagram and follow her. Not only does she have an amazing podcast and cover amazing cases, which we will talk about, but she is also an avid true crime book reader. And right away, when I saw that, I'm like, all right, I'm hooked. Me and her need to be best friends. So I'm really excited to share her with you guys. So without further ado, let's bring on Tiff from True Crime with Tiff Kline. Hi, Tiff.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I'm good. It's a little cold here. We got snowed in Pennsylvania. We had about 6 inches in Wilkes-Barre. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I came home from Kentucky yesterday. I was seeing my parents for Thanksgiving in Ohio, and I got home and I'm like, why did I come back?
Oh man. My condolences. My condolences.
I choose to live here, so.
I know. Yeah, we were supposed to get some here overnight, and where I am in Massachusetts, it kind of blew over, but some parts of Mass got hit pretty hard. So it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. But I'm really glad to have you on. So we have a lot to talk about. But before we do, for anybody that's not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Tiff. Everybody calls me Tiff Kline for some reason. That's what my podcast is called. I'll be out in public and people are like Tiff Kline, my friends, everybody. So I just used that because I had my own social media marketing business for a long time. And I've been into true crime since probably 8-9 years old. I think the one I remember the most was obviously John Bonet and Lacey Peterson are the two that I really started to get into. I live in Pennsylvania and I'm in radio and digital sales. So I've been doing that for about 7 years. So I just love advertising and marketing and talking to people. So I'm a volunteer for the Gabby Petito Foundation, and I'm also a survivor of domestic violence. So I've held my hands in a little bit of everything.
Oh my gosh, we could like do a whole show like just like on each individual thing. So let's break down. So you started getting into true crime at quite a young age, which I love that. So what was it about those cases that you just referenced, Lacey Peterson or Jean Bonet, that kind of grabbed your attention at such a young age?
I think, being around 8 or 9, I think it was also the time Princess Diana died. So I remember just seeing things on the tabloids and then comparing Jean Bonet, like looking like a princess to Princess Diana. And I think I just remember seeing them all over magazines, and I was just really interested in being a little girl. And it was just one of those cases to this day, 29 years later, I feel like the answers are right there, but technology had to keep up. And Lacey Peterson, that happened when I want to say in 8th grade. So I just remember that my grandma watched Nancy Grace all the time. So I remember that being the big headline through those years. I think that was pretty heavy from 2002 to I think 2006. So I followed that one pretty closely with my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's Scott Peterson being kind of back in the headlines with the LA Innocence Project. And yeah, a new generation of people who maybe aren't familiar with that case are getting to learn about Scott Peterson.
Yeah. No, when I met Nancy Grace at CrimeCon, she says, how long have you been following me? I'm like, since the Lacey Peterson case. And she looked at me and she's like, man, what a piece of crap that guy is. So I was like, yeah, I've been following you that long. So she was shocked.
Nancy Grace, she really needs to, not hold in her true feelings. She needs to be more vocal. She holds back too much.
Too much. Yeah, she does.
Oh gosh. At CrimeCon, just to jump back, so John Bonet, did you the past 2 crime cons, I can't remember, did you see John Bonet's father, John Ramsey, any of the presentations he did at CrimeCon?
Yeah, I got to see half of his because I wanted to meet him and I didn't want to stay in the line. But I had the platinum pass, so I knew I could meet him faster, but I didn't want to be up there all day. So I was the first one to meet him at his meet and greet. And he signed the book he wrote with Patsy, and I talked to him briefly. But the cool part was the night before I was down at the bar area with Nikki Schmidt and Tara Petito, and we were having some martinis over on the side, and I seen somebody sitting next to me, and it was him with his wife. But then I saw somebody else and I realized it was Burke, and nobody really knew Burke was there. So he was hiding on the side and I could have touched him. That's how close he was. And when he stood up and looked at me, and I was like, Nikki, is that Burke? And she's like, yep. And I was like, I was so shocked because he doesn't like to go out in public.
Right.
So it was crazy. So like I met him through a smile, I guess, but he had security with him. And but I got to meet John. I thought he was very sweet.
I did not know Burke was there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they were hiding like down by the bar. If you went around the corner to the right, there was like this wall with a TV and the big sports game was on. So Joe Petito and John Ramsey were sitting down there for a little bit, and Burke was off to the side and where nobody could see him. But I could, and I was just like stunned. I was like, what the hell?
Oh my goodness. So since we're on CrimeCon, I know I was going to touch on that a little later, but let's just chat about CrimeCon now. So how many CrimeCons have you been to?
That was my first one.
That was your first one. Okay. Okay. Now that you said it, I remember that. Because we were messaging about CrimeCon. So what was it like your first experience at CrimeCon for anybody who's kind of watching or listening who hasn't been or is thinking of going? What was your experience like there?
I had the best time of my life. I took my cousin and I didn't want it to end. And I thought it was just so cool that so many people came together to support the victims there and the families. And I think, I never heard of it until 2 years ago when I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a cruise for like crime or true crime. So I Googled it, and that's how I discovered CrimeCon. And I was like, how have I never heard of this before? So I'm like immediately booked my ticket and waited a whole year. And I just thought it was amazing. 7,000 people all there with the same energy I've never been in a situation like that in my life. Just everybody was welcoming, loving, warm, and I didn't feel like an outcast for once in my life. I felt like it fit right in, and everybody wanted to talk true crime. So it was just really cool.
Absolutely. I am so bummed that like me and you didn't like connect until after CrimeCon. So now I'm like, I have to wait like how many months to see you at CrimeCon Vegas in person? What the heck?
Yeah, I know. I wasn't in podcast row a lot. I was more seeing a lot of the seminars. My cousin was all in that room. I didn't really go until Sunday. I really walked around, but a lot of you guys were already gone. And I tried my best to go in and out. And I went in once on maybe Friday because I was in there with Joe and Joe and Tara Petito for a few minutes. And every time I went to certain tables, people would be there. They'd say, "Oh, I'll be back in a little bit." So it was just chance of who I got to meet and who I didn't.
I will say Sunday, people cleared out. I stayed until like the end. Like a lot of the people that ran out were like, "Oh, a lot of other content creators packed up. You can go." I'm like, no. No. And there were people coming in, like even like the last half hour, just kind of getting in those last few minutes of CrimeCon, and like, I will be right here. I don't care if there's 10 empty tables around me. I will be right here. And I have stickers and pens. So
I think when I was in there on Sunday, I went in before it actually opened. So because I had my platinum badge, they didn't really question me. And I just walked in and walked around, and a lot of you guys weren't there yet. But I had a lot of seminars to go to that day. And then I went to the Crime HQ session with Gabby's parents. So I really didn't get to spend a lot of time in there. But when I go to Vegas, now I know a lot of people that I've talked to. So now I'm going to make sure I go and stop and see everybody. Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Girl, I am. Yeah. Yep. I am so ready. Like getting my 2026 calendar ready. I'm already writing on it. Like CrimeCon weekends.
I'm so excited. I think that, a lot of people have that. Oh, it's like they think of CrimeCon as a horror con or a comedy con or a 90s con where you stand in line and you pay for an autograph and a photo and you move along. And I try to explain to people it's not like that at all. It's more of a conference. And I wish they would call it Crime Conference so people didn't get that. Oh, so people dress up as true crime people and just walk around. I'm like, no, it's not like that at all. So I think there is a stigma against it for people who've never been there. They think we're weird. Like, oh, why are you going? It's all true crime. Like, but there's victims' families there, and they're there to be a voice, and they know we're behind them to support them. So it's one big loving family. It's not, a place where we go and find it as entertainment. I mean, it's fun, but it's, we also know that there's real victims there and tragedies and traumas that, you don't go for the entertainment. You go for the support for the victims. That's why we all go. And I don't care what anybody says. I guarantee you, if you ask 7,000 of us, that's why we all go.
Yeah, that is so well said. It has this like you said, almost like an entertainment value, or that people glorify or whatnot, the negative part of true crime. And it's the complete opposite. Like in the chat right now, we actually have Maggie, Brittany Phillips' mother. So
Yeah.
Caravan to Catch a Killer. So
Hi,
Dr.
Maggie.
Maggie. Love Dr. Maggie. So the booth that was next to me at CrimeCon this year, they didn't show. And then Maggie was on the other side, which worked out because then we were right next to each other. And
I didn't get to meet her either. I was pretty upset.
Vegas.
Yes.
Vegas.
No, I'll be in there a lot more.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then I'm probably going to mispronounce your name. Doc 5510.
Oh.
It was so wonderful meeting you both at CrimeCon. Love my Jamie.
Yeah, that's my new friend Dawn. She's from Colorado, so she ended up in my group chat. I messaged people in the CrimeCon group on Facebook, and I formed my own group chat with some people, and then we all met when we were out there. So she was one of them.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that. Dr. Maggie's adding, and there's so many unknown victims that are there, and I think that we need to start addressing more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Tiff let me know she was going to be. I am here. Amazing.
I actually covered an episode. I think it was one of my first 3 or 4, and I did one on Brittany. It was around her birthday, so I studied it and I sent it to Maggie. So I think it was for October 4th. I did that.
So let's, in regards to kind of transitioning from CrimeCon and kind of everything that has to offer, and there are I can't wait for you to meet Dr. Maggie. She is amazing. And no, she didn't message me on the side to say that. I genuinely love Dr. Maggie.
I know, I've talked to her. She's really sweet. And you can't miss the van. I did see the van parked outside when I was walking down the hallways, but the timing, I just didn't get to see everybody in that room that I wanted to. Yeah.
Maggie's just one of those genuine good souls that I'm excited for you two to connect in person, because she's just a gift. She is just a gift to everybody. And she's so funny. She is all business and serious. She is so funny too. So, okay, I need to stop fangirling over Dr. Maggie. But in regards to your podcast, so it's relatively new. So tell us a little bit about that. When did you decide or think, you know what, let me start a podcast? And, how did that kind of come to fruition?
So going back to what I said about owning my own business, I was a food photographer in my area, Northeast PA, since 2013. And I stopped doing it in 2023, but I've also worked for radio and digital advertising for the past 7 years. And I always wanted to have a podcast because I just love to talk about anything and talk to anybody. I just didn't know how to set it up. I didn't know the equipment I needed. So it wasn't until I volunteered at the 2nd annual Gabby Petito fundraiser in Long Island with her parents back in June. I met Grief Isn't a Dirty Word podcast host, and he had me on his show, and we talked for a good half hour, and he's like, well, you're a natural. You can talk about anything. You need to get your own show. And we got to talking, and then he talked to me about 2 weeks later. He had me on his podcast, and he sent me a list of all the things that I would need. And, the softwares, the websites, the hosting sites, and that really helped me. And then my brother has a degree in music technology. So I just gave him a number. I'm like, don't go over this amount, but go put everything in my Amazon cart that I need, because I don't know what I'm looking for. So he researched everything that would be good. And then I ordered it. And then he FaceTimed me and helped me hook everything up. So I did everything just from help from other people. and everybody recommended Riverside. So that's what I've been using. And when I did an interview with Nikki Schmidt, Gabby Petito's mom, in March, it was the first time I really ever talked about my domestic violence story. And I just kept talking and talking. And she's like, you need your own podcast. So she helped me with some things. And as soon as I got back from CrimeCon, I started it. I was just so excited. And I'm like, there's so much to talk about. And having so many people to talk about crime with, it was nice to have a group that kept asking me, oh, are you going to have a table at CrimeCon? Are you coming to CrimeCon next year? And some people had already followed me, so they recognized me there. And that was weird because I feel bad that I didn't recognize them, but they're like, I follow you on TikTok, but, I feel, really appreciative that they followed me. And it's just nice to have that community. And I just want to it's a way for me to talk about what I enjoy, but I get to meet really cool people doing it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The true crime community, like the content creator community, there's just the opportunities to meet so many people that I'm like, never in every day-to-day life would I ever cross paths with this person. And it's just such a blessing to be able to kind of, just meet some of the people you do and connect online. And then you meet them at CrimeCon in person, or maybe you're meeting them for the first time at CrimeCon and learning who they are. And it's just one of those like, wow, it's just wild. It's absolutely wild. Yeah. But that's cool that you had such an inside help for starting up a podcast. So you could start it up right from the get-go.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people, like if I start a project, I go big or I go home. I don't half-ass anything. So I wasn't going to just collect things here and there and just wing it. I was like, I'm not doing it until I'm ready. 100% until I have everything. And then when my brother helped me hook it up, it was go time. And I just learned how to use the cameras and whatnot. And it's still, technology can be a little aggravating sometimes, but you figure it out. And all the people I've met from CrimeCon, follow me and they've been listening, and it's just awesome. I love talking to people about it. So.
Oh, amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. So for your podcast, so how many episodes do you have out currently?
I just launched episode 11 right before we did this. I try to do one a week if I can. I don't like to overdo it, but I think I'm almost at 750 downloads, I think.
Nice.
So it took off in the past week, but I'm not really, counting the downloads, but I'm really excited that people are actually listening. When I see the numbers go up and you get to see where they're from in different countries and cities, and that's really cool.
Yeah. So for people who are watching and listening, who haven't checked out your podcast, so what, kind of what can they expect that you cover? I know you say you talked about a little bit about your history with domestic violence, or do you just strictly stick to the kind of true crime cases?
It's a little bit of everything because I can't just focus on one thing. And I think having a background with domestic violence, it is crime. So there's a lot of things when I watch true crime I can relate to, trauma bonding and PTSD and trying to learn why the brain works the way it does. And my story was very, very, very similar to Gabby Petito's. That's a lot of people have asked me, how did I get to become friends with them and meet them? And my story is almost identical to Gabby's. Only I survived. I mean, down to the van, the social media marketing. My ex was a vegan, wanted to travel the world in a van. So when they were on TV, it really helped me start talking. And Gabby's mom uses the hashtag because of Gabby. So I do use a lot of that in my crime episodes, but there's some that's strictly just about, John Bonet or the Murdocks or the Brittany Phillips case I did one on. And then there's like one of my book reviews, Nobody's Girl. There was a lot of things in there I could relate to, and I brought some of my background in with that. So I think it's important to always talk about it, but I don't want to focus that on every episode. So in the past, I wanted to do one on just domestic violence advocacy, but I always want to talk about so much. So Gabby's mom and I were like, we were talking for a little bit, and she's like, you have a lot to say. And clearly it's helping me when I talk about it. So, and I want to be a voice, because if my story can help somebody, then that's what's important. If it changes one person's life, then that's why I do it.
Oh my gosh. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned how your story is very similar to Gabby's, but you were able to survive that. How did you go from kind of following her story on online, on the news, on social media, and then ultimately linking with the Petitos?
So my physically abusive relationship was 2009 to 2018. So
Wow.
Gabby's case didn't happen until 2021, and I really didn't talk about it to anybody. But when I found out the backstory of hers, it really just put me into a shock, I guess. And I kept telling people I'm going to help that foundation one day. And people would literally make fun of me. They're like, "Yeah, okay, Tiff." I'm like, "No, I'm going to meet Gabby's parents. Like, I'm good at help that foundation, and I'm good to be a voice for other people." And people should know when I say I'm going to do something, I usually do it. But it took me a few years, and I think I was on a live with Nikki and Tara, and they were doing a giveaway, and I was chatting. And because I buy stuff from the foundation, they were familiar with my name. And then Nikki messaged me privately, and then we started talking every day. And then she texted me, and we talk almost every single day. I talk to Tara a few times a week, but mainly Nikki and I talk almost every day. And she let me tell my story, and we talk about everything. She's awesome. But that's how I linked up. And, I told her my story, and then I got to meet Joe and Jim and help with the fundraiser. And I was with them at Crime Con, and they're just amazing people. And I'm proud to say that I can help them and then be a voice for other victims. So it's a crazy ride because people didn't believe in me, but I'm like, I think that's the only way I hooked up with her was through Facebook messaging, but I was constantly making videos already and tagging them and stuff. So they were very familiar with my name. And then we just became friends.
That's just so inspiring and so powerful in regards to not just kind of sitting back saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. And then like, just you're ready there to be like, I'm going to do it and just take action and go for it. And the connections that you've made for that. And again, just spreading awareness. And how has that, or has it kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but I don't know if what word am I looking for? Like kind of like personally, like, is it healing, or what is that like for you to not only kind of share your story, but to also help with another family? How describe what that experience is like.
Well, when I first started talking about it, it was hard, but then it got easier and easier until I realized, this is why people end up taken, because they're not talking and telling people, and other people aren't, if you see something, say something. There's not enough awareness with it. It's all brushed under the rug and don't tell people. And I was one of those people for a long time. And Gabby just gave me the confidence of just put it out there because it could save a life. And asking me how that helped me heal, there was a part where I came out of the fundraiser back in June. I was walking down the steps out of the Willow Creek Golf Club with my friend V, and I started crying. And it was after I said goodbye to Gabby's parents, and she's like, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Because this is just, I didn't even know what to put into words. Like, I'm here helping raise money for other victims with Gabby Petito's parents. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it." And she let me volunteer and do a lot of things that day. And I had gotten a tattoo. You guys probably can't see it, but it's Gabby's quote that says, "Just be a nicer person." And it has a purple butterfly with a ribbon for domestic violence. So Nikki loved that, but I love rainbows and butterflies. And so I did that. And then I got I got something that Gabby drew on my wrist. It's one of her flowers, but she had it up in her arm. So it's just a reminder that, I'm very resilient, like a flower that grows up through concrete. There's a will, there's a way. And being able to talk about and help other people helps me heal because I let it out. And I realize it's not my fault. I didn't do it on purpose. And I have trauma and PTSD, but it's not my fault. And I go to therapy, and I couldn't be a voice and I couldn't help them and be a volunteer if I didn't go through it. I don't think I would be as passionate about it, but because I can relate to it so much, it's just, they inspire me every day, the four of them, that how close they are. And they don't stop. They're literally crime fighters. So Nikki was in Idaho last night with Dylan Round's mom, Candace Cooley. I think Jim was there. They were doing a seminar together because Dylan got murdered around the same time Gabby did. And then Joe was on a live last night, and they're trying to raise money to build a new technology device for victims of domestic violence. So they're raising money for that. And they're just doing so much. And I just wanted to be a part of something that was helping people.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're succeeding and then some.
Thanks.
What was that like for you? I mean, not just being at your first crime con, but being there with the Petitos and kind of seeing that, because they are big figures there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't travel with them there. I just met up with them there. So,
Right.
they were
But you
coming
had
in.
definitely a different kind
Yeah.
of perspective there with them than the average attendee.
Yeah. I was there Friday night. We were having martinis and outside by the fire with Joe and laughing. And it was neat to see them, because I saw them do it at the fundraiser too in Long Island, but, just laid back, having fun. They want everybody laughing, having a good time. And they fight through their trauma every day and they don't give up. So sometimes I'm just like, things could be worse than I think of them. And I'm like, they still get up and do shit every day. They have their days where they turn it off and they don't want anything to do with it because they need to, heal and recharge and they can't talk about it 24/7. But to see them there and see everybody just so in awe of them like I am. And I try to tell Nikki every day, like, you guys are doing so good for the world. So good. I got stopped in the airport twice yesterday in Kentucky and people, they saw my Gabby Petito Foundation hoodie and they're like, oh my God, I would love to meet her parents. Do you know them? And I'm like, they're fantastic people. Like I can't put them on a pedestal enough. Nikki would roll her eyes, but they are amazing. And they don't just help their foundation. They're trying to link up with everybody's foundation. So Nikki was in Seattle a few weeks ago with Ethan Chapin's mom from Idaho 4 for Ethan's Smile. She was out there helping them with their foundation. So they all just try to connect together and be a support system and show us that, and with Joe and Jim and Tara, just because, Nikki and Joe were together years ago, they're still all best friends. And I love that they can do that together. So it just seeing them there, and I got to see them win their best docuseries on Netflix. That was really cool to see them win. I liked that.
Absolutely.
At the Clue Awards. That was really cool. But
I wasn't there, but I heard all about, I'm bummed I didn't go. I really should have gone. But
it was nice.
That's awesome. So so I do see some questions coming in the chat. So y'all, if you have any questions for Tiff, please feel free to put them in here. So Beckham is my co-host on the weekends when we do our True Crime and Chill. And he actually came from Texas to CrimeCon to help me with my booth. And that's as nice as I'll be to him because it's just weird. I always need to give him a hard time for whatever reason. But Beckham has a question for you, and it's only if you want to answer. Do you have a theory on the JonBenét case? Because I know you mentioned it earlier that.
I do. I will tell you what I don't think, because I don't want what I say to be turned into, and I don't want to be held at the cross.
Nope, that is fair. That is totally fair.
I don't think John Ramsey did it. And that's what I'll say. And I used to be one of those people that thought Burke was, but the older I've gotten and the more I've read, they may have been looking at the wrong brother. And that's all I'm going to say. And I don't want to say more because I know Burke has sued CBS for $750 million. So I don't know, but I don't think John Ramsey himself did it. And I don't think he paid people to do it. I don't think he covered it up. I don't know. After shaking that man's hand and looking him in the eyes, I just saw something like, I just saw such sadness that I heard in the Just in the Nick of Crime 2 said once at CrimeCon, why would somebody that was guilty keep it in the spotlight for 30 years? And that kind of clicked. And I'm like, yeah, that's a point. I just don't think the father did it. I don't know how else to say it.
I don't think he did either.
And people, they want to say she did it, Patsy, and that he helped cover it up. What I think happened, something happened, and he woke up to the shitstorm and really believed somebody broke in the house. And believed that until the day Patsy died. And I think he really believed her. I'm not saying I don't think she did anything, but I don't think he did. That's what I'm going to leave it.
All right. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay. So in regards to transitioning from CrimeCon, which, oh my gosh, girl, I could talk CrimeCon.
I could too.
All day.
Talk about it. I don't care.
So one of the things that when following you on Instagram, like, I'm not gonna, like, the thought that went through my head when, like, you'd be in my kind of my newsfeed on Instagram, I'm just like, who is this girl that reads more than me? Like, I pride myself on being a book nerd. I feel like I read slow in comparison to you. You are crushing books left and right.
Yeah.
So you're an avid reader, which I absolutely love. But for those who aren't following you on Instagram yet, because y'all, you have to. What type of true crime books do you kind of gravitate to? Solved cases, unsolved cases, or just everything?
Everything. I'll read, unsolved, solved biographies, but I don't read fiction crime. I only read nonfiction true crime. But it's a little bit of everything, what's relevant, even if, something now or something that happened 25 years ago, whatever I'm just in the mood to learn more about. And I try not to read just one book. I try to read books for both sides. So, I read the book Death of Innocence that John and Patsy Ramsey wrote, but then I read the book that Paula Woodward wrote. And then I have the book that the investigator that left the case, Steve Thomas, I have his book, but I haven't read it yet because I just like to hear all sides. I don't like to be small-minded. So I'm reading one now, The Devil at Its Elbow, about Alec Murdaugh. And I want to get the other book that defends him because I want to see that side of it. Because I like to be well-rounded.
I absolutely love that. Because it's very easy to, especially with like true crime documentaries and whatnot, it just, because to be fair, when they're being produced, it's giving a certain angle. And sometimes people who don't know the case kind of watch that and they walk away with that. And it's like, wait, no, there's much more. There's different eyes and ways to look at a case. So, oh my gosh. So you recently read Nobody's Girl. Because I know you had posted about that on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, because we just did that for book club here last month. So what was your takeaway from that book, if you don't mind me asking?
That was, I know a lot of people said it was a hard read. It wasn't hard for me because I guess I've been through so much, thank goodness I was never sexually abused, but I've been abused in other ways, and the same effects, same coping mechanisms, the same trauma and trauma bonds. And I can get the cycle that she was in, wanting to make her abuser proud and still caring about them, even though they're a piece of shit. Sorry if I'm swearing on here, but
oh no, go ahead.
Like I can understand it. And I went to be an intern when I was in college for a place that used equine assisted psychotherapy for kids that were dealing with loss and trauma. So when I read this book, it was reminding me a lot of the things that those kids went through. And I would read their files, and they would pick the biggest, baddest horse in the barn to work with. And it was just really interesting on why they picked certain horses, what they named their horses, and how an animal could pick up their emotions, just like the horse in the book she was talking about. So she clung to that horse, and a lot of that made sense. More sense to me now than it did when I was doing that. So that was like 2015, and how she was just hell bent on getting justice. And I'm like that. Like I said, if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I don't stop. So I saw a lot of myself in that book in ways that I couldn't put it down. I think I read that book in 3 or 4 days, and I wanted more. And it's sad, that she's not here. I personally, I don't know what I think about her dying. People have asked me if I think she actually took her life or if she was taken, and I don't know, because you don't ever know what's going through someone's mind that's been that traumatized.
Yeah.
And it's not for me to say what actually happened, but I read her story leading up to that, and she was very strong, and she wasn't just a voice, she was a movement, and she got justice for a lot of people, not just herself. And that was her point. It wasn't about her, it was about everybody that was involved.
Absolutely. And it's just interesting timing too with one with Ghislaine, having these meetings and being transferred from a different prison, and just the thought that she might get out. Like, I know there's rumblings on that, but that's scary. But yeah, Epstein and the Epstein files still like being very prominent in the news, and it's just not going to go. Her story will not go away, and that is the best thing because it needs to be at the forefront of what happened. It's just, it's beyond horrific.
Yeah. I know there was a lot of people, and I don't talk politics. I will never tell you what sides I take, what I believe in, whatever, when I'm on these things. I was shocked, considering what we see in the news all the time, that there was really no mention of Trump in that entire book. I will point that out because I thought that was very, that's all we see in the news. It's Trump, 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 or Bill Clinton. Those are the only names we ever see in the news. So the only time I noticed that she'd mentioned him was when she started working at the spa resort.
Yeah.
And her dad introduced her to Trump. Then she started working there. And that was really all that was ever mentioned. But she named a lot of other, abusers, but there were some she didn't name, but I was really shocked considering how much they say he's in those files, that I was just like, oh, well, there are two sides to every story. And I'm not saying he wasn't or was, but this is from a victim. And you think, she named Prince Andrew multiple times. So,
there was that section at the end where she kind of says that there will be some people she won't name, and because they do they are powerful, or they could,
and he could be one of those. I don't know, she was afraid. She said there was billionaires 1, 2, and 3, and she wouldn't name them. So I mean, maybe he's one of them, maybe not. But I thought there would be more in that book about him. So I was just really shocked, from what we hear in the news. And that goes back to your friend asking me about JonBenét's theory. When I read all those books, the media spun everything out of control. So when I read Paula Woodward's book Unsolved 25 Years Later of JonBenét, she was putting in pictures of doctor's notes and blood samples and DNA and spit swabs and everything that the entire family submitted, but the media would say they weren't cooperating, but they did. It's just the media just wanted to put their own title on it. So you can't believe everything you watch and you can't believe everything you read. So it's really hard to say, when you read these.
And it's, I get so scared that I'm like, society, have we learned nothing? But like you just said, you can't believe everything you see. I mean, there's so much more, and we're in 2025. I'm about to go into 2026, and I feel like that message still needs to be put out there. Do your due diligence and do a little bit of research, because the media is not always presenting things the right way, not just with true crime.
No, with everything. And then with those damn videos, there are some videos now where I have to really wonder if it's AI or if it's real. So, I mean, God knows what's on the news that's really not real and what is. But I'm also not saying everything in these books are, that's just her perspective. It's what she remembers. So you really won't know unless you're those people. So that's why I like to read different versions. I'd like to read some other victims' books. I'm not sure if they wrote any, but I'd like to see if they kind of match. So, which I'm sure they do, but it was interesting. That was one of the best books I ever read.
Okay. Very, very high praise. I recommend it as well to everybody. Absolutely. Yep. We have a question from Kane for you. Do you think the JonBenét case will ever be solved?
I do. I think when we were at CrimeCon, John was on stage saying they were in Boulder the day before the police department, and they finally let go of some of the evidence to go get tested from a private detective lab. And one of those was the garrote around her neck. They kept for 29 years and wouldn't release. I know in 2008 there was evidence tested, and then there was evidence that tested again years later from 2 different labs, but the same unidentified male DNA matched. So that's in the CODIS DNA. So have it in the database. They don't have a name yet, but 2 different labs tested it, but it was the same unidentified. It was DNA tests and swabs, and but they had in the book too from Paula Woodward. John Andrew, her half brother, Melanie, Melinda, her sister, Burke, Patsy, John, the Fleets. They all gave pubic hair samples, fingerprints, bloods, spit, and they have it in that book. So the whole family was exonerated in 2008. I don't know. I think it will be solved, and I would really like to. Next year will be the 30th year. It would be really cool to see that get solved, and it would be cool if they gave John Ramsey the Crime Fighter Award at the Clue Awards, because I mean, he's been fighting it for 30 years. And if the Boulder police finally let it go to get tested, I think there's a chance. But I don't know. I'd say so, though. I'd say before 2030, it will be solved.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So not this past CrimeCon, but last year in Nashville, he did a presentation and I went to that, and he was saying at that time that he was fighting the Boulder police, because they would not release the evidence. So thank God progress has been made in that. Just
I'm not sure what made them finally release it. Probably from him just badgering them enough, and it was starting to just take over media, and it just looks bad. Looks like they're trying to cover something up. But he wasn't mad at Boulder police when all this happened. He was mad that they didn't bring in the experts when it happened. They didn't allow the FBI to step in or other experts to help, and they just kept it all to themselves. So that's what he was pissed about. He was like, if they would have just let experts help, because none of them had any type of homicide experience. Nobody on that case. So I think in time it will be. I don't know. I think maybe if they exhumed her, they'd find more, but he won't let them do that. So I don't know. But they have the DNA. They just have to find the guy it matches.
Oh, fingers crossed. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. So Mr. Beckham has another question for you. So if Tiff's career would have gone in the direction of criminal justice, what type of job position would she be most interested in? That is a good question.
It's a good question, because I was just telling my mom this. I was cleaning out my closet probably a year ago, and I discovered a folder with all my things from high school. In 11th grade, I wrote a paper saying, and I was very specific. I wanted to be a crime scene homicide investigator. So this was going back into high school. I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries going to sleep at 5 years old. I still do. But this was something I was always interested in, but I suck at math and science. So I always beat myself up that I couldn't do it. And back then I didn't have the confidence that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I wanted to be a funeral director. But again, it came down to the math and science. I'm like, I'll never survive. And it just never happened. But I think I'd be really good detective, because I get obsessive over I have obsessive worrying and obsessive thoughts sometimes over things I'm really interested in. So I won't sleep or stop until I figure out a solution, which is weird that I'm bad at math, because that's all problem solving. But I think I would have been really good at doing that, because I would bring justice to cases. Because I would be one of those investigators that wouldn't stop until there was justice.
Amazing.
It would have been a lot of fun.
You know
I'm just too much student loan debt now, so I'm not going back.
No, that is true. You know whose career you're basically describing right now is Cheryl McCollum from Zone 7.
That'd be so cool. That's my dream job. That would be.
I think. Were you able to meet her at CrimeCon?
Yeah, I met her at the kickoff party.
Awesome. Yeah,
and then I sponsored her wildlife CSI event they did in Lake Tobias in PA. I sponsored that for them. I sponsored an officer. So I talk to her sometimes.
Awesome. Love Mac. She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, what she gets to do day in and day out, I'm just in awe, in absolute awe. But I feel like anybody who's watching this, even for 5 minutes, is just yep, Tiff would be amazing at that. Attention to detail. Absolutely. Well,
if I could ever leave my full-time career, I would love to be able to just talk true crime for a living. That would be awesome. Cheryl Mack. Yeah, she knew we were going to do this together. And she's like, oh my God, you two. A great pairing, she said.
I'm an accountant, and Joe Scott Morgan told me at CrimeCon that I should have been a forensic accountant instead. So accurate. That's my dream job. Side story. I have a close friend who's an accountant, and he was telling me about forensic accounting because I had never heard of that before. Oh my God. Again, if I was a numbers person, really cool. Really cool.
Love Joe Scott Morgan. He's mine. If I could have one person at CrimeCon all weekend, if I had to pick one person to listen to all day, every day, it'd be him. I could listen to him from sun up to sundown, because the way he talks is just so sincere and he's just so insightful. Oh my God, I love him. He's one of my favorite crime people. And I watch him all the time. And my dad's going out, hopefully, to Vegas. And I'm like, you got to meet him. You got to meet him. Out of all the people, I adore him. He's so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I was
All
actually
those
listening
students
to
he
his
has are
most
lucky.
recent episode of Body Bags on my way home from work today. So
His voice is so calming too. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I've watched a few things on YouTube and he'll tear up and like, he just really cares. He just truly cares about people and just a good soul. And I would love to spend a day with him and just pick his brain. He is just, I don't even know how to, when I met him, like he was just so kind. There's not enough nice things to say about him, I guess.
yeah.
His students are lucky that they have him.
Oh my God. When he like talks on this podcast about, his students and his teaching, I'm just like, I would love to take his class. Like I just even shadow and sit in the back and just absorb the information he's giving. Like, what a gift.
I know. I wish he would do like online course you could just take him for like a semester just to have like a 101 forensics and just have him. I would do it. I would pay to take a course just to say he taught me.
Yeah. An online curriculum course with him, Cheryl McCollum, like teaming.
I don't know what they're doing. Like they really could do an online like crime degree or something. Like you could get like an associate's in crime and they all could just be your professors. I think that would be a great job.
I think we need to create a group chat with Cheryl McCollum and be like, we have an idea. We'd like the discounted rate because it's our idea.
I mean, we wouldn't be going out in the world and like, solving cases, but they could give us like those certificates that say like certified couch detective or like just something fun. I think it would be really cool to take like a crash course.
Oh my gosh, 1,000%, 1,000%. And these are all y'all. So these podcasts that we're talking about, I have referenced them numerous times. Cheryl McCollum has been on the show months ago. She was very gracious and came on when I did like, oh God, probably a year or two ago. I can't remember when I'm like, oh, what podcast am I listening to now for true crime? I've mentioned these podcasts. So if y'all aren't following it, follow it.
Yep.
So to jump back a minute, just for, in regards to switching from kind of podcasts or YouTube to kind of true crime reading in books. So what books are you reading currently?
I can only read one at a time.
Nope, that's fair. Or what's the lineup right now?
I had them right next to me. This is the one.
Oh my gosh, you just pulled a big one.
So it's The Devil at His Elbow. This is the one about the Alec Murdaugh case. It's the fall of the Southern Dynasty. So it goes back to like his great-great-grandfather and how he was a shyster and how it just followed them through the whole family. And now I'm at the part where they found Mallory Beach and they're trying to hide everything. So that's where I'm at in that one. I did finish that one, The Unsolved, John Bonet by Paula Woodward. That was a really good one. I've recently read The Perfect Father about Chris Watts, the Shanann Watts story. That was a really good book.
That is on my list.
This is a really good book. I read this in like 4 days. This is really good. And then the one I told you about, John and Patsy wrote, Death of Innocence. He signed this one. That was really nice. And one of my favorite books was For Lacey, about Lacey Peterson. Her mom wrote this book. That was a really good book. I couldn't put that one down either. So it was more of what the family went through rather than the forensics on Scott's side, but more of how it affected them and their thoughts about Scott. So that was a whole different perspective, and I liked that one.
Interesting.
And then obviously Nobody's Girl. But after the Murdaugh one, I have a few from CrimeCon I bought, and I don't know which one I'm going to read next. Killing Time with Gacy I bought recently. It was about the attorney that defended him during his case. Interesting. That might be my next one.
Yep, I have that book. Yep.
I think I'm going to do that one
like
next.
A quarter of the way through. Yeah. So far, so good. You know whose book I wanted to get? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's either that one or the one about Abby and Libby, the Delphi murders. I bought that one at CrimeCon, the Shadow something. I can't remember it. That's on my list too. So I have a lot. I have like 20 books over in my book stand that I haven't touched yet. So
that is, yeah, all that right there are to be read. It's when I go to CrimeCon, I mean, Beckham, Mr. Beckham is here, so in the chat, so he can attest. The amount of books that I buy, it's obscene. It's obscene. Yeah. I go to the bookstore like the first day, and I just clear house.
That's what I did.
Did you get Nicole? And I'm gonna butcher her last name. Nicole and Jemmy's book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she signed it. Oh, let me tell you about that. I bought her book, and I was like, the night of the Clue Awards, I was like, I'm going to put this in my bag because I just have a feeling I'm going to run into her. And as soon as I got off the escalator, she was standing there. And I had talked to her the night before at the kickoff party, but she signed my book. And then, you know, she's from Philly and I'm from Scranton. So we're only an hour and a half away. So she had this contest on, she has a club that you pay for every month, like $5.99, the Gross Room. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So
yep.
She had a contest that if you entered by November 14th, I think you could win to have dinner with her and her daughter down in Philly. They haven't announced it yet. And I'm like crossing my fingers because I'm like, I'm so close. I would love to have dinner with her. I asked her what the craziest thing she ever found in a human body was. And she said it was a gift bag in someone's stomach, like a birthday gift bag. And they didn't know what it was until they took it out of the stomach and cleaned it off. And it was a freaking birthday gift bag. And she's like, I don't know how that got in. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, I could have dinner with her and talk all night. She is so cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Seeing her, I saw her at the CrimeCon kickoff party, and like one, she's covered in tattoos, which like I love a girl with tattoos. Love tattoos. She's stunning. She's so pretty. Like I was just like, I was too shy to go up to her. I really was. I was just like, oh my God, she's so cool. And I'm just like, so not. But then
my cousin kept saying that.
I'm like, at some point in the creator row, and I went up and I was like, can I have a photo with you? You're really pretty. Like, she's amazing.
She is. Amazing. She's really just, you can tell she's got a lot of things that go on in her head. Like she's like real big analyzer. Obviously, she's a pathologist, but I went to her thing that she did about Hollywood deaths and suicides and different ways of dying. And that was really neat. I was almost really sad that I wasn't going to get to see her, but something happened and I finally got to. I think I got out of John Ramsey's meet and greet early so I could go see her. And I got that was so exciting because she's badass. That's what I tell her. She's badass. So hopefully she'll watch this, but yeah, I got her book. So I've looked through it, but I haven't actually sat and read it, but I have it.
I missed getting it. I went up and I was just like, I can't find this book. And they were like, oh, we sold out like immediately. And I was like, I missed it. Oh, but I will be getting it. It's in my Amazon cart for like after Christmas if like no family gets it for me for a gift.
Oh
man.
Yeah, I've known about it, but that was my mistake the first day at CrimeCon when the store opened. I loaded up on like 7 or 8 books and my cousin's like, how many do you need? I'm like, not enough. But then the last day I went in and then it was buy one, get one. And I learned my lesson. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? But some of them were gone. So you don't know, you know.
Yeah, that's wait to buy on the last day. But yeah, you run that risk. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, I was able to, Beckham held down the booth. So I was able to sit in on her presentation, but it was so packed. I just sit on the back, like on the floor, but it was like so worth it.
So worth it. Yeah, I remember that. I walked in and it was just, there was no seats. I was like, I think that was the most packed one I've seen. That was crazy.
I'm hoping she comes to Vegas. I'm so hoping. And I can just be like, damn it, I need to go up to her and talk.
My cousin wouldn't introduce herself to anybody. She was like, they'll think I'm stupid. I'm like, they expect you to walk up to them. Like Crime Weekly people. She loved them. And she was so nervous. She wouldn't go up to Stephanie. And I'm like, do I have to do it for you? No, don't do it. Like, whatever. But I get it.
So in regards to, all right, I'm going to ask you a question. And if it takes you a minute to think about it, that is fair.
Okay.
What is your all-time favorite? And if you want to say why on each, that's fine too. 3 true crime books you would recommend to somebody.
For Lacey Peterson's mom, just because it gives you a whole different perspective of how the family dealt with everything that the news put out and what Scott Peterson's family was doing that really wasn't put in the news. It's more personal. And I would say Nobody's Girl, just because it can be triggering and hard, but I think it's a real eye-opener for people. Maybe people who don't understand the sex trafficking or really know what's going on in the news and why this is such a big deal, or maybe they themselves are a victim and they're too afraid to talk about it, and it might give them the courage to start speaking. And the other one, I have so many. I don't know. I have to go with The Perfect Father with Chris Watts. I haven't read that one in a while, but I do know that it was more intense and in depth again than just what you see on the news. And I think that's why I like reading them more than watching, because you get it from a whole different perspective. And they actually a lot of them do their research, and they interview the victims or the families of, and they give you the facts. They don't just make up headlines. So if you're going to watch a case or anything on TikTok or, court TV, I would find a book to go with it, just so you can see different angles. I don't think I have an all-time favorite, but those are probably the top 3 that really resonated.
Excellent. Nice. So if anybody, again, has any questions for Tiff, definitely put them in the chat. We got John Douglas's books are really good too. Yes, I would agree. Absolutely.
I think I have one of his.
I
have to look.
So in regards to, we briefly chatted before we went live. So I'm like super excited to ask because I already know the answer. But Tiff, do you have any pets? And if so, what type of pets?
I have a male cat I rescued a year and a half ago. His name is Chaos. And he's a sweet little thing, but he can get chaotic and just do the zoomies. So that word kept coming out of my mouth. I'm like, that's his name, but he is the sweetest cat. And I had 2 cats prior to him that passed away within a year from each other. And he's literally like both of them combined. And it was like he was sent to me for a reason. He's just so freaking. Today I was gone for like 6 days, and today he curled up under the blanket and then spooned me and put his head on my chest and went to sleep. I'm like, I love cats. I love cats so much. So I've had them since I was 4. I don't know what life is like without a cat.
Amazing. What type of cat?
He's just a brown tabby, just striped. He's really heavy too. He's like 14 or 15 pounds, but he's only like 2 years old. He's just solid, but he is so cute. I saw him on Facebook. Yeah, he's just heavy. He's not fat. He's just solid. But he was on Facebook. Someone posted making biscuits to Bon Jovi music, and I'm like, I need that cat. And he was perfect. That's all. That's the reason why I needed him. And I was like, he's coming home with me. Perfect pair. So
that's amazing.
And I have a turtle. I told you. He's not even a year old. He's like the size. He's bigger than a $50, but he's not very big.
Oh, that is tiny. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with turtles and how big they can get. So
they grow with their tank size. So if you keep them small, they'll stay small. But he's getting a little bigger. I'm just debating if I want to let him go in the spring or not, because they're really tedious and they're really just hard to take care of. They can get diseases so easily, and just if you use tap water and it's not the right temperature or it has bacteria, like I don't know. I'm on the fence if I'm gonna let him go or not. I don't know.
How does your cat interact with the turtle, if at all?
He does interact with them every morning when I go, because my fish tank kind of is on my bathroom sink, so it doesn't get messy. And every morning he goes right in the bathroom, he jumps up on the sink and he puts his head and he looks in the tank and he knows I'm going to feed him. And it's like he checks on him. I don't know how to explain it. And then at night he'll go in there and the tank is half open, so he could swat in there, but he doesn't. And if I take the turtle out to walk around, he'll paw it very gently to make it move, and then when it moves, he runs away. Like, so he plays with it, but he's not violent or anything. He just doesn't know what it is, but yeah, it's cute.
Not living up to the name of chaos, but that's not a bad thing.
No. I don't know whether just that word came out. My life was very chaotic at that time too when I got him, so it just fit. He can be though. He can be chaotic.
So Kane has a question for you. What do you think of Anne Rule's books?
I've never read them.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Her Ted Bundy one, A Stranger Beside Me, is like a classic staple.
Yeah, I never read it. Mm-mm.
Wow.
I'll have to. There's so many that I told you I have that I've had over like for years. I just never, but my life was the past 6 years of my life were not the best. So I'm just getting back into reading, but I've had books for a very long time. I read in high school, I read in college, I read before this past 6 year span. I stopped for a while, so I do have to catch up, but I don't need to add any more to my list, guys. Please let me catch up on what I have. I will literally go to Amazon and say, I'm going to order this for when I did that for Cheryl McCollum's book. I ordered it. So when it comes in, I have it. I ordered Mandy Matney's book about the Murdochs, and that doesn't come until it should be coming this week. But I'm like, why did I order this when I have 20 other books? But it's like, you never know what you're in the mood to read. And you're just like, you have to have it. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to read this one this week. But yeah, I'm really bad. I'll buy them and I'm just like, it will take me years before I read them. But my goal this year has been to read a book a week, and I'm doing well with it. So hopefully by the end of next year, I'll have all these books read.
I love that. Like, like kindred spirits right now with each other. It just, we need a Danny Tiff book club. Oh my gosh. I would love nothing more.
It'd be fun. You have one already though. I don't want to step on your toes. You don't need to.
With mine, it's anybody's welcome on camera. We vote at the beginning of the month. It's at the end of the month. People can come in for it if they want to talk about it or not. It's very, very flexible. Very flexible. But, this is a good one. Do you think Richard Allen will be awarded a retrial?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Oh.
I think they have what they need, and I don't think there's. No, I think he's in for good. I don't think he's going to get out.
Okay, interesting.
What do you think about it?
Fair. Charlie16, Dr. Wondersmith wrote the Bible on forensic science.
I would love for him to be at CrimeCon. When they asked a few weeks ago who they want or who do we want there, I did put his name down.
Oh. What was it? In Nashville, Dr. Michael Bodden, at one point, I was just walking around in between panels and he was right there. And I was like, I got a photo with him and I walked away and was like, oh my, I'm like, you are a legend, like a legend. Just.
I wish I would have known CrimeCon was happening during Nashville because my mom and brothers live in Nashville. And if I would have known that, I could have just went and, had a nice little time. But that's when I found out about CrimeCon while Nashville's was happening. So that's when I bought my ticket because I saw that it went on sale. But I told my mom, I'll go every year as long as they're at different places. I really hope they go back to New Orleans because I've never been there. And that's one place I want to go. So I'm hoping it'd be nice if they came to Pennsylvania or New Jersey or, Massachusetts. Boston would be nice. Hit the East Coast. So we'll see.
They seem to do the same few and it just rotates.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. I know him personally, worked a few cases with him. Very cool, Charlie. Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm in for New Orleans. I've never been to. I would 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I can speak for Beckham. He would fly for that. He would fly in for that for sure. I already know he would. So just to, again, if anybody has any questions for Tiff before we wrap up, but in regards to your podcast or any other projects you have going on, even with I know when you do your book readings, like when you post on Instagram. I love it, love it, love it. But kind of more so for your podcast, what can people expect? Do you have any updates or things in the works you want to maybe give a little teaser for, or just people need to subscribe and find out themselves?
I'll start doing more teasers. I have a goal to start lining people up to interview. I had to figure out all the technology stuff before I was like, hey, jump on my podcast, because I didn't want to record it and then it not record. But I'm trying to get people on who are the victims of, the families of those cases who aren't very famous. So going back to what somebody commented, like, I think it was Maggie, more cases need to be talked about that we're not familiar with. And I'd like to research them from all over. My uncle messaged me from Kentucky last week, and he's like, hey, look into this. This guy went to college with me. He went missing. So like, I'd like to learn about things that no one knows, because not that the cases that we know about aren't important, but we know about them. We know that people are helping them. We know that they're in the media, but we have to get other cases because they're just as important. So that's my goal. I don't really have anything to tease at the moment because I'm still trying to get this lifted. But just interviewing more people. I hope to get some of Gabby's parents on with me. I want to have you on my show. Like Mother, Like Murder with Rachel Holloway. I would like to have Maggie on. Cheryl would be great. I would love to get of Scott Morgan. If I could get him for 20 minutes, that would be like goal succeeded. Like, I don't even need to finish a pot. Just that's it. So in time, I talk to his wife on Facebook sometimes, Kim. But I'll be at CrimeCon in Vegas, so we'll be with my parents. I won't have a table or anything, but I'll be walking around and I'll talk to everybody. I might have my own stickers just to pass out, but
yes.
And then July 17th is the 3rd annual Gabby Petito golf fundraiser in Long Island. So they'll be posting information on that soon on ways you can sponsor. I sponsored a golf cart for like $100. And what was cool was when I got there, they had like 100 golf carts lined up and everybody's logo on them. And Joe Petito and their lawyer Patrick Riley drove my cart around. I was about floored. I was like, what? Out of all the golf carts, they had mine. So that was really cool. But they just want to have a good time, open bar, and then they have DJ afterwards and dinner, and you can buy a ticket for dinner, or you can just, come golf. There's all these different packages, but just as little as $100 just to sponsor a cart helps. So all the proceeds go to help finding missing people and domestic violence victims. And Heather Locklear showed up last year, so it was pretty cool. So that's July 17th.
Blast from the past.
Yeah. She's really good friends with Tara Petito now. Tara was just out in California and stayed at her house. They were doing some event out there with Joe, and they're like best friends. So that will be July 17th. Other than that, I don't have really anything like secretive I'm planning. I'm just going with it. Changes by the day with me. So next week I could have this big project that I just came up with. So just stay on alert on my pages because it could change at any minute.
Speaking of that, where can people find you?
TikTok and Instagram at True Crime Tiff Kline. I would direct you to my Facebook page. I mean, you can add me on my personal page. I don't care. But I had a business page called Kline's Corner with K's, and I converted it into a true crime page, but it won't let me change the name because it's so old, from 2013. But my logo, True Crime Tiff Kline's on there, but it's called Kline's Corner. So I don't like to promote that because it confuses people. But if I would say, if anything, follow me on TikTok and Instagram.
Fair. And I do have all the links down below in the drop-down bar to make it easy for people to go follow. And Matilda said, just subscribe to Tiff's podcast.
Thank you.
Love Matilda. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, everybody definitely subscribe to the podcast. I'm like, honestly, like listening to it. And now that I know you had all this like help behind the scenes to get you like to the perfect place to start, I'm just like, she is crushing it like right out the gate. But
well, too, I couldn't have done that without the guy that interviewed me at Gabby's, I can't remember his first name. It's Dan. Is it Dan? From Grief Isn't a Dirty Word podcast. And then my brother being the tech guy. So there's no way I could have figured it out by myself. There's a lot, but once you get on it and you learn it, it's a breeze. But because I've had social media marketing experience and working in sales and advertising, like for me to connect and network, that I got that. That's fine. Like I can do that. But hooking all this up and trying to learn all these softwares and programs, I had no idea where to begin. So just ask people. I mean, especially people in our community, the true crime world, everyone wants to help everybody. So if you're wanting to do one, just ask people, because Rachel Holloway messaged me after CrimeCon and she's like, if you need help with this, that, and this, don't feel pressured, or, don't be afraid to reach out. I can help. And everyone's just so nice.
Oh, Rachel, love Rachel.
Yeah, she's sweet.
Love Rachel. I just met her in July here in Massachusetts at the True Crime Podcast Festival. And it's like one of those, we meet and then it's like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. She's just one of those amazing, genuine people. So you're in good hands with Rachel.
Well, I met her for that Friday night at CrimeCon at the bar, and she was with Heather, and she told me she was from Kentucky, and I forgot. So yesterday, I mean, we talked a little bit since then, but yesterday I was at the Lexington, Kentucky airport, and she's like, I just left there. I dropped my boyfriend off. I'm like, literally, if I would have came a half hour earlier, I would have seen her, and that would have been so cool. But she only lives an hour or so from my parents. So next time I'm in Ohio, I'll try to see her.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Nice. CrimeCon
She's really cool. I love it.
So we have, if this is not an endorsement, I don't know what is. Tiff's podcast is great. I second that.
Thanks, Dawn.
Matilda was about to third that after she starts listening to what she subscribed to. So
I need to get people on my podcast, because it's just me talking, but I had to get the kinks out, and I'll just, once I go, I just go, and I put my opinion out there, and I don't care, if you don't agree with it, that's whatever. But I have to get people on there, but it's just been me talking. So I'm sorry that I can just go on and on for an hour. So I apologize.
I love your format. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you did have Joseph Scott Morgan on, like, you'd have like probably 1,000 listens within a month, and it would all just be me.
If I get Joseph Scott Morgan on, I'll get you on there at the same time. Then we can have one big thing and get him when we have him, and we can both interview him.
Oh man, that guy's knowledge. Oh gosh. All right. Well, thank you, Tiff, so much for coming on Danny After Dark. I really appreciate it. It's been great to kind of meet you online through Instagram and then kind of connect with you. And I'm really excited to share your podcast with everybody. I think it's absolutely amazing. The work you do is incredible. There needs to be more people like you, honestly, truly.
Thank you.
So everybody, again, all of the links are down below. Social media, podcast, subscribe, follow, whatever, all the things. And yeah, make sure you get the latest of what's going on with Tiff. And if you're going to go to CrimeCon Vegas, you'll see both of us.
Yep, we will be there. You'll see me walking around. So I'll just walk up to people and introduce myself. I don't care. I'll probably get my own stickers and just pass them out. I don't know, but
I would like a sticker in advance.
Okay.
For my laptop, I would like one in advance. I'm calling it now.
All right.
And Dr. Maggie's still here. Miss all you guys. Love you, Dr. Maggie. Looking forward to seeing you at CrimeCon as well. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions or comments from this, if you weren't able to catch it live and you're on replay, leave it down below in the comments and get back to you. So,
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, Tiff. This was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Have a good night, everybody. And until next time, remember, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.